Hello and welcome to another Roker Rapport TV. I'm by myself again. We have slightly redecorated the studio. The studio will now permanently value this. I am not going to fidget with it again. Maybe get some new programs to put on the front. But apart from that, we're ready to go. This week's episode is dedicated to the squad as a whole, what Jack Ross has to work with. Now he's the new Sunderland boss. We're going to look through the players we've got at the minute. Ones who played particularly last year, even the ones who are going out of contract. We're going to look at everyone involved on the playing side. Apart from the academy players, it's difficult to know really what's going to happen with them, which ones are going to be offered new contracts and whatnot. But no, we're going to do that. So that is today's episode. I did also promise a Jack Ross impersonation, which I will get to. But I'm still trying to work my way up to that because I don't feel like I've got it like totally nailed. So we'll get that. I'll probably come towards the end of the video. I'll probably do that bit last. Start. We'll work from the back up. So the back up. I don't know how that works. It's weird because the camera's opposite. In net, Jason Steele. So at the minute we've got two goalkeepers. Lee Camp was on loan. He's actually out of contract now from Cardiff, so he won't be in the Premier League next year. But he's went back. We've got two keepers, Jason Steele, Robin Reuter. Steele signed a stupidly long contract, so the chances of us getting rid of him are slim. But then again, Blackburn probably thought the same when they went down, and well, they were able to get rid of him to us, so maybe there'll be a stupid championship team that want to buy him. But I suspect it's going to be very difficult to get rid of Steele. Maybe a loan deal. But to be honest, I think I saw enough from him at times last season to suggest that he isn't quite the horrendous goalie that we thought he was. So I wouldn't be opposed to him being the number 2. I don't think he'll be the number 1. I certainly hope he won't be the number 1, but I think he'll be the number 2. As for Reuter, you know, he was the best of the 3. He still was great. I think he probably needs, I don't know if he suits English football maybe. He's very weak on corners. Wasn't a great shot. To be honest, wasn't really great at anything. No real command of his area. He was the best shot stopper, and he probably was the best from corners, but all too often he was beaten in the air. So he's a weak goalkeeper, but I think they actually probably can get something for Reuter. I don't know what. I'd probably be tempted to let him go on a free transfer. I mean, we got him on a free transfer, so obviously I would be, you know, like tight with my money and be like, you know, we'll demand a fee when he's useless, and we'll be thankful for somebody to take on his wage. I don't know how much he's on. He's probably on 10-15 grand a week. I mean, last year Burnley were out sniffing around him when we were after him. We thought it was a coup getting him, but you know, didn't quite work out. As for, I mean, we've got Sturicek as well, who was sort of in and around. There was some calls for him to play, but from what I've seen of him, he probably needs like maybe another loan spell out. I mean, he's had spells at Accrington and Stanley, and they went alright. I don't know if he's ready to be the number 1 at Sunderland. So he could maybe do with a loan spell out. Or, I mean, if they can get rid of Steele and Reuter, if Sturicek goes as the number 2, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But the definitely we need a goalkeeper. Probably it's an area that we need to spend some money on in the summer. I don't know how much, but I think we definitely need a goalkeeper, because otherwise it's just going to be a disaster again. Moving swiftly on to defence. So defence is the scary one because Jack Ross has virtually nothing to work with at all. Defence is a shambles. So John O'Shea, he's going to be gone. Yeah, I don't mind John O'Shea. I think he's had some harsh press off Sunderland fans. He's not the best. Certainly now he's 30, you know, 37, 38. He just played his last game for Ireland as well. So I think, you know, if he wants, he can probably get a club in the Championship, I think. I think for Sunderland, though, it doesn't make sense to keep him, unless you're going to move him into a coaching role. I mean, everything we've heard from journalists and people around the club suggests that John O'Shea maybe isn't, you know, he isn't the problem. And I think sometimes we have unfairly, but possibly because he has been part of the club during a disastrous period, we've sort of put a lot of the blame on him. But John O'Shea, for me, release him. I would say that we're time's done with him. You know, is he going to be the best centre back in that level? Probably not. He's slow. He doesn't have legs. He can read the game, but at the end of the day, if he comes up against a player with even an ounce of pace, then he's going to struggle. And we sort of saw that last season. He can do a lot of things. He can, if he's got a partner that does have a bit of legs behind them, he can sort of help them. But I just think, you know, we need to move on from John O'Shea. So for me, he's getting released. If I was Jack Ross, John O'Shea is finished at Sunderland. Billy Jones, out of contract this summer, and I think I speak for the whole city of Sunderland when I say, go away, Billy. You are not welcome back. Decent enough in the Premier League, but just absolutely painstakingly useless last season. And to be honest, the season before, to be fair, since he signed for he hasn't really done much. There's been the odd good performance. He did score against the Mags, which I will give him credit for, obviously. But beyond that, you know, he's been a poor signing for Sunderland. Hasn't really improved the fullback position. I think he was brought in to replace Phil Bardsley, and that didn't really work out. So, yeah, I think Billy Jones is gone. I think he'll probably get a Championship club will take a punt on him. They'll probably think that he's got the potential. He has played Championship most of his career. He's had a few years, obviously, in the Premier League as well. I think he needs a change of scenery. I think it's got a bit stale for him here, and I think he needs a new challenge. I don't think Sunderland's worked for him. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him, you know, get a Championship club next year. Certainly won't be anything more than that. Mark Wilson, disappointing signing this past season. We got him off Bournemouth, and I was expecting big things. I was happy. I remember thinking, yep, that's a good signing. Free transfer, experienced Premier League centre back, has been playing in the Premier League for pretty much. But he signed for Stoke, I think, in 2009. He's been playing pretty much solidly in the Premier League until he signed for Sunderland. And when he came here, I don't know what was wrong with him, but he didn't look like an Ireland national who played Premier League football. He was absolutely painstakingly hopeless. Slow, couldn't read the game, bad decision making, often caught out in defensive positions. Just a really, really bad footballer. Didn't have feet, couldn't play long passes. How he played centre midfield is beyond me. And I remember even saying, oh, he can play centre mid as well. Oh, he'll be decent in centre mid. How wrong I was. Mark Wilson, poor. Been poor since we signed him. I don't even think he's had a good performance. And that's, you know, that's damning of him, I suppose. He's been absolutely useless. Injury prone as well. Nah, get rid of him. He might get himself a Championship club. Somebody might be an idiot and take him on, but I think his days as a decent footballer are over. Next, Brian Oviedo, international footballer. To be honest, one of the few that did all right last year. Probably has a little bit of value in him. To be honest, last season was the first season he'd stayed fit in his whole career. He didn't really miss that many games. But I liked him, you know, he's decent left back. Very good in the attacking third. And I think if he had some better players around him, he would probably have done better. He's certainly not going to be the one to lead the charge for it. He's not going to be the one who's going to, you know, improve the ones around him. But I think if you put him with good players, he would be a better player. I certainly even think, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if a Premier League team did take a punt on him. You know, he had proved himself Everton in the past, and when he played for Sunderland in the Premier League, he wasn't disastrously bad. I just think from left back, if you're in a really bad team, how are you meant to, you know, sort of, it's a hard position to influence the game. So Oviedo, I think we should sell him. I think in terms of a figure, beggars can't be choosers, but I think we could probably command 3 million for him. That would probably be an ambitious price. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for maybe 1 million, or even possibly just somebody to take his wages. I don't know what his wages will be. Will have got the pay cut when we went down, but I don't know if that's, you know, probably signed for about 40 grand a week, so he's probably still going to be on about 25, 30. So Oviedo is one of the ones, as much as I would think he would tear it up in League One, I don't think it's wise to keep him. I certainly think their wages could be better spent, you know, on more players or other players that we've currently got at the minute. So Oviedo gone for me. Got to get rid of him. Adam Matthews is next. Interesting one, because I don't think he's the greatest footballer, and I think since he signed for Sunderland he's been poor. Last year he had spells. He did score the most ridiculously fluky goal ever against Millwall, where he crossed it and the keeper basically threw it in the net. But, you know, he's an alright right back. He can play left back as well. He's versatile. He's not a disaster. Can I see him staying? I probably can't see him staying. I don't think he'll be on that much. He would have had the pay cut. I think he's only got 1 year left in his contract as well. So it wouldn't be the end of the world if he stayed. But if anybody's willing to offer money for him, you know, 1 million, something around that, then I think you'd have to consider it. I think you'd be stupid not to. I think a Championship team, you know, could take a punt on him, but I think it wouldn't surprise me if Matthews was still a Sunderland player next year. So I think it's likely that he'll stay. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody wanted to pay sort of any money for him, to be honest, if he went. But it's not a disaster. You know, if he stays, I think he could do a job in League One. Donald Love, player that, to be honest, I like. I rate him. I think too, you've seen his performances in like the Checker Trade Trophy, and when we've played in the League Cup against lower league sides, you know, he actually looks very good at that sort of level. So I think keep him. He's not going to be on big wages. I think he sort of gets the club as well. I don't know, I just identify him with him a little bit. I quite like him. He's a trier. He's the sort of player I think Sunderland fans will grow to like. I don't think he's got necessarily the best reputation at the minute amongst fans. Certainly the ones I sit around don't really rate him that much, but I do. I think he's for this level, he'll be probably one of the better players in the league. You know, he just needs to learn, and I think this is the time for him to learn. In this division, he can afford to make some mistakes. He can afford maybe to push himself a bit more forward, and I think Donald Love next year probably will be, of all the defenders we've currently got on our books, he's probably the only one that'll stay. The last defender that played for us last season was Lamine Kone, and I think I speak for us all when I say sell, get rid. Whatever the price, I think, to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if he left for nothing. And I think with the wages that he's probably on, I mean, when he signed that new deal at Sunderland, I would take a guess he must be on 60 minimum. And then he obviously will have got the pay cut, so that's probably dropped to about 35. 35 is ridiculous. You know, that's some teams, you know, weekly, at this level, probably it's some teams' weekly budget. Can't afford to be paying that. So, Kone, for me, you've got to go. He's got to go no matter what the cost is. Try and get money for him, but they've just got to get rid of him. He's on too much money. He'll hamper too much. So Kone, gone. Can't keep him. Moving into midfield. A lot have been said. I even wrote an article about it, but Paddy McNair, one of the few players last year who came out with any sort of dignity. Injury prone, which is the knock on him. He's got fitness problems. We all know that. He's struggled to string together really more than 5 games for her since he signed. But at that level, if you can keep him fit, he'll be a 20-goal scorer from midfield, easy. Got everything. Pace, bit of power, tall, dominating, can tackle, can pass, can obviously score goals. We've seen the range of goals he scored. We're not talking about tap-ins, we're talking about, you know, 30-yard screamers, lovely finishes in the box, taking it past 3 or 4 players and putting one in. At this level, he will be the best, probably one of the best players to ever play in League One if we can keep him. That being said, what's his wages? We signed him off Man United, and he had been sort of a Man United first teamer, so I wouldn't be surprised if when he initially signed he was on maybe 30, probably now on towards £20,000 a week. If there's an offer that's in excess of 5-6 million, the club have got to seriously consider it, and I don't blame them. You know, we're in a different sort of marketplace now. We're now a League One team. We can't think like we're a Premier League Championship club anymore, so 6 million quid's just, it's a ridiculous amount of money, and I think they'll be tempted by that, and I wouldn't blame them. But you can talk McNair around, and you can give him 1 season in that league and say, you know what, you owe us this, we've stuck by you with your injuries. I think he'll be, it wouldn't surprise me if he stayed. I think if you're talking about, you know, allocating your budgets, if you want to make McNair your best paid player, I think that makes sense. The issue is if he gets injured, we've got a problem. He'll be our most expensive player, and you know, we do know that he is injury prone. So that is the knock, and that's sort of the debate that we've got. But you know, 2 million quid, it's not worth it. 3, it's not. Once you start hitting 4, 5, I can see why they would want to get rid of him. Or not want, but why they would accept that offer. Catamol, get rid of him if possible. It's just stale. It's a bit similar to John O'Shea, but he's got, I think he's contracted like 2021, so it's going to be hard to get rid of him. I'll have to retain some of his wages if we do. No team's going to be an idiot and buy him and then pay him probably the 30 grand a week he's on at Sunderland. Got to get rid of him. I think you've got to sort of speak to him. I think Catamol's the sort of bloke as well that, you know, he'll understand the club's point of view on it. He'll probably know that he's on, you know, too much money for that level. And he probably feels responsible. He's that sort of guy. It's not a knock on him. And I think Cattermole, again, gets labelled as one of the rotten core. I don't think that's necessarily true, but you've got to get rid of him if possible. Lualua, he's gone. So, yeah. Did he even play a couple of games? Came off the bench, never started. Yep, get rid. McManaman probably will be good at that level, but again, probably on too much money. Probably is on about 20 grand a week. Probably now with his cut 15 or something, but just can't afford to keep him. So, yeah, gone. If you can get money, great, but to be honest, release him if needs be. Try and get rid of him on a free. Some team will probably take on his wage. Some team will probably think they can get a player from him. And to be honest, they might, because he does have bits of quality, he just hasn't been consistent at Sunderland. One of the more interesting players is McGeady. I think Sunderland fans generally like McGeady. I think he was one of the few last year. I mean, obviously, I think he ended up as the top scorer of the ones who stayed. Obviously, Graben was, but of all the players that played the full season, he was the top scorer. You know, if a good price comes in, then sell him. You know, if we get offered anything $1 million plus, sell him. Yeah, you know, he probably is on a decent wage. He probably did get offered maybe 20 grand a week last year, and that'll obviously come down, but he'll still be on a lot of money. But it's not the end of the world if he stays. He's skillful at that level. He should dominate. He should do very well. So if the price is good, sell him. If he stays, I'm sure we can get a player from him next year. I don't think he's the sort of player that'll give up. I think he will offer his all. And I think he'll be very, very good in League One. So if he stays, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But I can see why he'll end up going. If we're getting offered really any money for him and we don't have to retain wages, then I think it probably makes sense for all parties. We're now getting on to the youngsters in midfield who played a bit this season. So Honeyman, I think we can all say that he should stay. Wouldn't be surprised if he got the captaincy maybe next year. Possibly give it to McNair if he stays. But Honeyman's going to be a big influence on the club next season, and I think he'll do well. At that level, he should do very well. He should flourish. Moving on to Gooch, same again. You know, USA international, probably shouldn't be playing in League One. Probably should have played more last year. Gooch will stay if he wants to. Again, might get an offer for Gooch, and if the money's right, I can see him going. But realistically, you know, keep him. Can build a team around him. Robson, he's just signed a new contract. Good player. I'm a big fan. Very, very neat and tidy. Good in the air. Good at breaking up play. You know, good on the ball. Simple passes. Nothing too ridiculous. And I think he'll flourish next year. And I honestly think that he'll probably be one of our main players. I'll probably tout him as a potential player of the year sort of candidate, Robson, because I think he will be. You know, he'll be good for us next season. Embleton, possibly might loan him out. I don't know. I quite like Embleton. Very good set piece taker. Things I've seen from the other 23s. I probably think he probably is ready for this level. Just depends on the players that we bring in, what sort of budgets we've got. But Embleton, I think, probably will be, if we're playing with, it'll probably be the 5th centre mid. So he'll probably be 5th in the list. If we're playing with a 4-4-2, and then obviously if we're playing 4-5-1, he'll be on the bench. But I think I wouldn't be opposed to him staying, but I wouldn't be opposed to him going out on loan. Luke Molyneux obviously played on the final day against Wolves. Again, wouldn't be surprised if he stayed. I think it wouldn't be a bad thing if he stayed back and see him getting loaned out next season. So that sums up the midfield. We'll move on to the forwards, and they're going to have to invest money on forwards. Watmore's injured, probably injured till about January, at a guess. Or certainly that'll be before he's, you know, properly firing fit. But you've got to keep him. For that reason, it was sort of like a signing when he comes back. Hopefully he doesn't pick up another injury, because he's a good lad and he doesn't deserve another one. Madja, I've said he needs seasoning, and I think this is next season's the year he gets his seasoning. I think he'd be a good player in League One. He needs to bulk up a little bit. He needs to get a bit stronger. He needs to get used to the physical side of the game. And I think there'll be times next season where he might look a wee bit out of his depth. I think he might get bullied a few times, but ultimately he'll come out better for it. But I think, yeah, keep him. I think having him as the starting striker probably doesn't make sense. I don't think he will be the #1 striker. They will definitely invest in a striker. Well, they'll invest in a few, but they'll definitely invest in the big name striker for that level who's going to lead the line for it. Madja, though, can be a nice player to have to come off the bench. I would keep him. That being said, if there's interest from a league above, I wouldn't be opposed to him going if the offer was silly. If the offer was into the millions, I don't think Madja's got the same ceiling as Osoro. And if the money for Madja is into the millions and you can get that sell-on clause, sell him. I don't think we'll get that sort of offer, but it's worth thinking about because teams probably have been looking at some of our players thinking, you know, we could cherry pick a Madja. We can try and get an Osoro. Madja's one of them where I wouldn't be opposed to him going. I would want him to stay. He's a good young player, but, you know, if the offer does get silly, I can see why they would want to sell him. The other thing is we're going to have to give them a new contract if he is to stay, because we don't want to risk losing him. We'll get compensation, but I don't know how much compensation you get for a League One player at the end of next year. Osoro, the final striker we got in my books, got to give him a new deal, got to offer him the moon. Keep him if you can, but if he doesn't want to sign the new deal, you've got to try and look at selling him. You know, we can't afford to let it go to compensation. As I say, I don't know what sort of deal you'll get with a League One player with a compensation. Might be a couple of million. You know, try and structure the deal in your favour. If we can get Osoro signed, happy days. If he doesn't want to sign that new contract, you've got to think about moving him on. I don't want to say that because I rate him. I'd probably say him and McNair are the two main building blocks we've got. But, you know, it's a business at the end of the day. They've got to think about, right, okay, what's best for Sunderland. If Joel Osoro doesn't want to play here, then don't keep him. Try and get good money for him. That being said, maybe you can try and play a risky game. If you keep Joel Osoro, he might want to see where you're going to be going, and if it's clear by, you know, October, November that we're going to be in promotion contention, then he might want to sign the new deal. You know, we will have the resources to offer him a competitive contract that the other teams will be able to offer. So it's up to him whether or not he does. You know, if he wants to stay, then I think he'll get the sort of contract he wants. But as I say, if the offer's big, if you put a high sell-on percentage, I could see him going elsewhere. I don't want him to, but I can see that happening. We've got a few finals, so we've got loan guys. Barini's going to AC Milan, although they're apparently in financial trouble, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Hopefully it'll not be an Alvarez situation, but opposite, although that would be karma, I suppose, for the previous regime. Dilabodji, there isn't a buy clause for him, so they'll have to get rid of him, but he played decent by all accounts, I think, last year, so they'll probably be able to get a few £1 million for him, maybe something in the region of 4 or 5. In Dong, reportedly already leaving. I think it was 6.6 million they're saying, but there's a few clubs interested. That's probably going to be the money that we owe on that deal. I mean, we paid a stupid amount of money for him. Apparently heavily loaded with bonuses and clauses and paid over a ridiculous amount of time. But in Dong, he's going to be gone. He's not going to see him again in the Sunderland shirt. He's probably not even going to step foot in Sunderland again in his life. So he'll be gone. Kazri, I would say keep him until after the World Cup. His value may rise. Obviously, they're playing England as well. If Kazri can, you know, score a goal against England and look very good, look like the player we know he can be, then a Premier League team will be sniffing all over him. So it'd be silly, I think, to sell him right now. I think if you had that sense, you wouldn't. He had a very good season in Ligue 1. And I think Kazri could probably get, somewhere in the region of 8 million for him. If he has a good World Cup, it could probably be more than that. So that sums up the squad. I don't think I missed anyone. If I did miss somebody, you'll probably all tell us in the comments. I haven't really looked at the younger players, and now I'm going to try my Jack Ross impression. So I'm going to have to watch a video to see what Jack Ross sounds like again. Jack Ross, Sunderland Press. Let's see. Oh, there it is. SCFC.com. Very good. I won't play. That's disappointing.
Can I immerse myself in the stars at mirror?
You know, I'm delighted to be the new Sunderland manager. You know, it's a big move for me. Oh God, I just can't do this Jack Ross impression. I'm sorry, I give you like 4 seconds, but I think I'm gonna have to work on that over the summer. I think that'll be my homework. That'll be my Roker Rapport TV homework. So you got like 3 seconds. It just wasn't there. and I apologise. So in terms of videos in the future, I am going to do a video looking at potential signings. I think I'm going to keep like an updated sort of like tactics board, which I'll update where I think the new signings will fit into the team. So I'll probably start with the basic lineup of what we've got now. I don't think we've even got the players to do it, like, but I'll do that. So I think we'll keep up to date with that. I think I'll also do a video sort of on players that I would sign if I was Jack Ross, and sort of the players that we'll be looking at and where they sort of fit in. I think I might do a little bit on the academy players as well. See where that goes, but there'll certainly be stuff happening. I'll probably have another video out early next week, maybe like Monday or Tuesday. I'm not sure. I'll probably record the podcast on Monday. It's probably Tuesday. And I think that is everything. So let me know if you agree with who should be staying and who should be going. If you think my values are wrong, let me know. And I will probably not reply, but you know.